Well, welcome to our live webinar 3.0 series. My name is Nicola Pomponio. Thank you so much for taking the time to log in. The 3.0 series focuses on harvest and specific winemaking techniques of each estate. Today, we will visit one of the most iconic cava houses in Spain. Please join me in welcoming Toni Domenech, the Manager of Public Relations, Wine Tourism, and Events at Segura Viudas. Wow, Toni, you have a lot of hats.
True. Good evening for me, good morning for you, good afternoon maybe for some of you. I'm Toni Domenech. Some of you already know me, we already met. Some not. I hope to meet you quite soon here or there, whatever. And well, as Nick said, I'm working here in the winery as public relations and event manager. And also, well, we have to take care a little bit of our vineyards, our environment. And with this, I have the help of my colleague Ricard, that today he cannot be here, but he is a biologist. And well, we try to advise and also to talk with the vineyards managers to achieve the quality that it's reflected in our products. So I'm here in Segura Viudas. Segura Viudas, as you might know, it's in the middle of the Penedès area. Today we're going to talk about the Penedès area. We're going to talk about the grapes, and we're going to talk about harvest and well, the characteristics and the highlights here in Segura Viudas. Any question that you might have, as Nick said, please ask it through the chat, or at the end maybe we have some time for the questions and answers. Okay. So well, if you want, we can start with the presentation a little bit, introducing a little bit where we are. We are in the Cava country. Cava country, it's basically 90% of the land of Cava is located at 40 minutes from Barcelona, very close to Barcelona. So if you ever come, now I know it's difficult, but maybe in 2029, things they will get easier and we will be able to travel. So if you ever come to Barcelona, 40 minutes ride, then you are in the middle of the wine country, in the middle of the Penedès, which is a completely Mediterranean weather, as you can see. And Segura Viudas, as you can see, is located in the middle of the vineyards, in the central Penedès. We're going to talk about the areas of the Penedès, and Montserrat is behind. Montserrat is a mountain range that is protecting the Penedès area from the cold winds from the north. You know, behind Montserrat always we have the Pyrenees, and let's say that's a natural barrier that is keeping this climate, this Mediterranean climate, the characteristic of the region of Penedès. So, well, as you can see, we have surrounded by vineyards. We have about 100 hectares, and 50 of them are vineyards. The rest are pines, forests, olive trees, very, very Mediterranean. The Penedès is, its characteristics is the Mediterranean climate. The Mediterranean climate is the same that you can have, for instance, in Sonoma. Sonoma has a Mediterranean climate also. It means warm summers, mild winters. In here we are not in Sweden or in Finland, and rain during spring and fall. And that's how we could describe the Mediterranean weather, the Mediterranean climate. Also, when you're talking about the wine, you have to know the type of weather that these vines are growing to know what kind of wine you're gonna grape. And now we're gonna talk a little bit of the terroir, no? The terroir and the grapes. Terroir and grape varieties, as you can see, this is the Penedès. The Penedès, we divided in 3 different areas, depending on the altitude. And we can start with the maritime Penedès. The maritime Penedès is between 0 and 150 meters above the sea. Sorry, I don't know in feet. Then we can go a little bit higher in the central Penedès, as you can see it here in yellow, between 150 and 350 meters above the sea. And finally, the upper Penedès, 350 to 700 meters above the sea. This is affecting completely the type of grapes that you're going to find in each place. For instance, we start with the maritime Penedès, very close to the sea, as you can see, with the Xarel·lo. The Xarel·lo is a grape that is unique here in the Penedès. You can find it in some other areas. but the Charelo is a typical grape from Penedès. It's very aromatic, it's fruity with ripe fruits aromas, nice acidity, and high alcohol. It's a grape that it gets a lot of sun, so it grows a lot the sugar. We go to the Macabeo. That's in the central Penedès, as you can see again, Montserrat behind, protecting all this plateau of vineyards. And Macabeo is a type of grape that is the most planted. It's got also nice acidity. The aromas are white and green fruit aromas and medium alcohol. Okay? It's a little bit what it gives you balance in the cava. And finally, the parellada that is growing in the upper Penedès. You can see here some vineyards that there's snow. We don't get snow every year, maybe once every 4 years, but the parellada is the one that is growing the highest. So it's completely opposite than Charelo. So lower alcohol, lower acidity, but very elegant aromas, like floral aromas, very subtle, and even some palmatic and citric aromas. Okay. So, well, having said that, we know a little bit the characteristics of these grapes, and now we can jump into the harvest. You know, the harvest is also a special moment for us because it's the season that everyone is waiting here in the winery. It's between second week of August and first week of October. And well, we are waiting for these grapes to get golden. Once we decide the date of harvest, we start harvesting by ordered by grape variety. The first one that we pick is Macabeo, then it comes Charelo, and finally the Parellada. Also, we go checking the different plots, and when we think that the grapes has achieved the right balance between acidity and sugar, this would be the date of harvesting. Normally, always we start with Macabeo, then Charelo, and then Parellada, if we are talking with these three grapes. But also, as you might know, we can work with Chardonnay and Pinot Noir, and those ones, they're going to be the first one to pick it because our grape varieties of short cycle, they're coming from France, and the local grape varieties that they were working, Macabeo, Charelo, and Parellada, they are varieties of long cycle. So this makes the difference. So that's why we have to pick first the short cycle ones and then the long cycles. As you can see, harvest is by hand. These images they were shot before the COVID, before the pandemic. So that's why you can see people without masks. And this is the long queue that we could see that all the grapes all the farmers are doing before getting into Segura Viudas. No? So this year we had to change a little bit the way of harvesting due to the COVID, because we wanted to avoid that the people they touch too much the grapes. So we decided also to work a little bit with machine picking. It makes no difference nowadays. The machine picking has increased a lot the quality, and normally the grapes that they're picked by hand, they're picked during the daytime, and the grapes that they're picked by machine, they're picked during the nighttime. This is about oxidation. When you pick by hand, you pick the whole bunch, the whole cluster, and let's say that all the berries, they protect each other. No? They're all together, they're protecting from an oxidation. When you pick by machine, the machine, what it makes is shake the vines and separates the berries from the stem. So the berries are open to the air and they're getting an oxidation, and more if we're talking about white grapes. The white grapes, they're getting oxidized before the red grapes, because the red grapes, as you might know, the skin is thicker, they have polyphenols, they have tannins that they are antioxidizing. I'm sure that you heard that a glass of red wine is antioxidizing, but not as much, and not the white one, because the white one, it doesn't has all these antioxidizing properties. And that's why when we pick the grapes by machine, we have to make it at night. The temperature is lower and the oxidation is not as high as during daytime. Remember that in here we are harvesting in August, September, and again, Mediterranean weather, Mediterranean climate, we can get temperatures of 35 Celsius. So that's very, very hot. And the hotter it is, the more oxidation you get. So to avoid this oxidation, if you want to pick it by machine, normally we go at night. Although there's some grapes that you have to pick them by hand because of the type of vineyard. If they don't have the trailers, you have to pick by hand There's no other way. So normally these are the old vines, the ones that they get more concentration, the ones that low production, and that's why we need to pick them by hand. And this you have to do it during the daytime, then transport, as you could see in the video, in the small crates of 25 kilos to avoid that the grapes they crush each other. And if they do, in the little crates, I don't know if you realize there's little holes, because in case that they crush each other, they create the juice leaks out through the holes, and we don't get oxidized juice in here. Okay, well, this is how we make the harvest here in Segura Viudas. As you can see, as I told you, we have about 100 hectares, 50 of them are vineyards, so we don't have enough grapes to achieve our production and also to achieve your sales here in the United States. So also we have some grape growers that have been with us many years. I mean, many generations. I know a lot of them. There are about 300 grape growers that we're working. And also we go visiting them. We go analyzing the different plots that they have, the different vineyards, to organize them, to tell them when they have to bring the grapes. So it's a work that it's all year long. And normally in April we start, to check the different plots, the different vineyards, to know when we're going to start the harvest. Of course, for instance, we talked about before about the old vines. The old vines normally they're going to be for cavas that they need more concentration, more complexity, because they have normally higher alcohol, they have higher acidity, they have higher concentration. Okay, lower production in the vineyard, but higher concentration. So let's say that for our Reserva Heredad, of course, we will choose the right plots for this Macabeo and this Parellada that it's in the blend of the Reserva Heredad. For the Brut Reserva, maybe we don't need this full body Charello that we need for instance, for other more complex wines. But it's true that we need certain acidity to keep it fresh, and also we need also certain acidity, certain body, and certain alcohol to age it for more than 12 months. So that's how we work. No? We work visiting the different plots. We go checking the different maturations, the different ripeness, and then telling them when they have to come with the grapes to Segura Viudas. And then when the grapes arrive in Segura Viudas, of course, they pass a quality control. Basically, we check 3 main parameters: acidity, level of sugar, and level of the pH. Okay, the level of sugar is going to tell you the level of alcohol, and then the acidity also is going to tell you the aging potential. Remember that the higher acidity, the more that you can age, and the fresher will be the wine. And that's how we organize it. Once they arrive in a day, we check all these parameters, and in a day we make different quality groups. Because if we receive, for instance, Macabeo in one day, these Macabeos, they're coming from different plots, so they will have different characteristics. So we make different quality groups to be crushed by quality groups. And by this way, we will get different quality wines to be able to play in the blends, to elaborate and to make different products that it's as you can see in the range of Segura Viudas. How you see it, Nick?
Toni, what about 2020? Is there anything specific during harvest that you can talk about for 2020?
See, 2020, well, it had a mild winter. As I told you, we're not in Finland in here, no. But this last winter was quite mild, and this has marked an earlier harvest, no. Also, in the Penedès, the spring was very humid. We had a lot of rain, twice as last year, for instance. And we had a big problem with mildew. Mildew is a fungus that when you get a lot of humidity, the mildew, it can hit very strong. And also this was during April, May, and June. And also it was difficult to combat. It was difficult to fight due to the rain. It was raining a lot. We had a lot of rain. So if you combat the mildew, normally you combat it with sulfur, okay? Because in here we are working organic in our vineyards. Remember that Segura Viudas It's an organic winery, although not all of our products are organic, but our vineyards we are working as organic, so we are only using sulfur and copper. So when you fight the mildew with sulfur and the next day it rains, all the sulfur is melt. So it was a kind of hard season for the mildew to fight the mildew, no? And especially with the organic vineyards. Then July and August was very dry, so it dried out all the fungus. Also, the fungus was gone, but already the grapes, they got dehydrated because of the heat, and this made that we had estimated 30% less of the crop than last year. And this really, you could feel it here in Segura Viudas when we received the grapes, that you could see that, you know, it was slow because that was not that many as last year. No, the grapes that they came to the winery, they made it in good conditions, okay, and the quality of the wines, it's kind of high, okay. The levels of gluconic, it was a medium, you know, they were a very, we can say, very good health. And then medium low alcoholic levels, acidity less than expected because it was very hot. As you know, when the sun is shining, you know, it's hot, and then the acidity drops down and the sugar comes up. So medium high alcohol and then lower acidity, and that would be what the harvest it's been in this 2020.
Okay, great. Thank you, Tony. That was a lot of great information. It's amazing how you're able to combat that mildew and moisture. Thank God there was only a 30% loss. We're already starting to get some questions in the chat, so I'm going to go ahead and start with some questions and answers. And
Okay.
Once again, if you do have any questions, please type them into the chat. Tony, how did Segura Viudas get its name? And are the wines vegan and gluten-free?
Okay, the first one, Segura Viudas, names come from the founder. The founder was Manuel Segura Viudas. As you might know, in other webinars that we had, Segura Viudas, the building that I am, that you can see a little bit, and some of you, you've been here, it dates back from the 12th century, and it was known as the House of the Grapes. But then in the 20th century, it was bought by the Segura family, Segura Viudas family. He was the one that founded the winery, and to make the brand, he used his name. So Segura Viudas come from the surnames of the founder. That was back in the 50s. 1950s is when they acquired the state, and they started building the winery. Gluten-free or vegan? It's true that it's vegan because we are not using any animal products to make the wine. Before, they were using egg yolks to clarify, to find the wines, but this is not used anymore. So we can say that our grapes and our wines and our cavas are 100% vegan. And gluten-free, I presume it's gluten-free because gluten is coming from the wheat or flour, and we're not using any of these products to make in the whole process of cava. More questions?
Great, that's great information. Next question we have is, what about the rosé grapes, Trepad and Garnacha? Can you talk a little bit about those?
I love them. Rosé, okay, Trepad and Garnacha. Trepad is coming from a place that, from a specific place, Conca de Barberà, south of Penedès. It's about 30 minutes from here, very close to Tarragona city. You know, Catalonia has 4 main cities: Barcelona, Tarragona, Lleida, and Girona. And Tarragona, it's in the south. Trepad is coming from Conca de Barberà. It was a grape that it was almost disappeared, and we recovered it using it for our rosés, because Trepad is working very good for the rosés with, you know, these red, fresh berries, aromas, and it's got also a nice acidity. And it really works very, very good for our rosés. As far as I know, now there's some wineries, since they have recovered the Trepad grape, because it was pulled out and they were planting Merlots and Cabernets, but now they have recovered, and there's some wineries down in Conca de Barberà that they are making also good red wines. Garnacha is a typical Mediterranean grape variety with normally floral aromas. And also you can find it in all the littoral, around the coast of Mediterranean, up to France, no? And yeah, it's working very good also for the rosés. Normally, our rosé from Segura Viudas nowadays is Trepad and Garnacha. So the blend of these two grapes, it's working very, very good.
I've always been interested in Trepad. It's not a grape that we really discuss and talk about very often. Obviously,
Sure.
Garnacha, we talk about, you know, especially since it's very well known in that country that's north of you. I can't remember the name of it, but just kidding.
Well known, and Trepad, it's a local grape, so, and it's very interesting. I mean, everyone that came here in the winery and has the chance to taste a base wine of Trepad, it gets surprised because it's a strength, it's muscle, and the aroma, no, it's nice. Also, it's giving a good color, and it can age good. So
So
I love Trepad.
the acidity for the rosés, that's coming from the Trepad?
The acidity from the rosé is coming mostly from the Trepad, because Garnacha, as I told you, is a Mediterranean grape variety, so it's getting ripe quite a lot, especially here in the Penedès because it's hot. And Trepad is coming from Conca de Barberà, that they have a little bit more altitude, so it gets the acidity. Although we don't have high acidities in here, don't think about the acidities that they can have in Champagne, Burgundy, or even in Côte d'Aron or in France. No, in here we have an average acidity of 3.6 in tartaric, so it's not a high acidity, but enough to feel a fresh product and to be a little bit crispy. More questions?
Yeah, we had a little visitor there, but that's okay.
Yeah.
We have one more question that just popped into the chat. Does Tony have a favorite Segura Viudas wine and why?
Wine or cava? I can
Well,
tell you
let's do
both.
both. Why not? Now let's talk cava. Let's talk cava.
I do. I love the Torre Galimany, but sorry, it's not available in United States. But I can tell you why. Torre Galimany, it's Xarel·lo 100%, and we are only making 14 to 20,000 bottles a year. So it stays in here, I'm sorry. But it's Xarel·lo from all vines, partly fermented in barrel, and this is one of my favorites. And the other another still wine, one of my favorites here in Segura Viudas is the Xarel·lo, the young Xarel·lo, because it reflects a lot what is a young Xarel·lo, crispy with ripe fruits aromas, with some citric aromas, very fresh, and it matches very good with the paella, you know. And here we love paella, so almost Sunday yes, Sunday no, I cook paella and I have a bottle of Xarel·lo Segura Viudas in the fridge ready to be drinking.
Well, that sounds really good. We don't have that here, but I'd really love to taste that. Maybe you can sneak a bottle across the Atlantic for me. That'd be delicious. Tony, I want to just say thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for explaining all about the harvest, all about the details of the grapes. I really love that video that showed the C and how, you know, there's the lower, the mid, and then the higher where the grapes grow. It was really interesting to see it in that 3D image, and I really believe that's really going to speak to everyone that's out there selling the wines. So maybe we'll have that video available for everyone to go back and look at. Actually, we will. We'll have this on the YouTube. But I'm going to hand it back to you, Tony. Thank you so much for your time today. Thank you. Have a great weekend. Enjoy yourselves. What a beautiful room you're standing in, you're sitting in. Thank you again, Tony.
No problem. Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure, you know, with this audience that we're having here, 45, 46 people. And well, please come to visit us whenever you can. You are invited here in Segura Viudas, and then you'll be able to see in live these different regions that I explained, and of course, you know, experience the winery. That's very important. No, we like you when you come here, because I know it's not the same through the webinar and through a webcam, you know, and a map here and images. But yeah, what we love is when you come here, we have a nice area, we have also nice food, and that's what we are expecting. We're expecting that everything gets better, and you know, we're waiting for you here for sure, and to taste all the wines. And also, let me wish you, if I don't see you, and we don't meet until next year, well, happy Christmas and happy New Year. Okay, and I hope everyone is in good conditions and good health. Take a lot of care.
Thank you so much, Tony. I appreciate it, and happy holidays to you and your family as well. Thank you for all the great information. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.